create the feel of a tangible lover by connecting with a woman through the twilight of waking dreams. And the pureblood incubi, who had escaped the dark landscapes that had been sealed up with the Eater centuries ago, were deadly. But she didn't think any incubi, pureblood or otherwise, would stay around for a dream that had the warmth of romance but no sexual fire. She looked up and forgot what she was about to say. The peculiar expression on Sebastian's face made her wonder how long she'd been drifting in her own thoughts, and made her wonder if the birthday gift he'd given her was created from a little more than just his imagination. "Your birthday was last week," Sebastian said, brushing the subject of her thoughts a little too closely for comfort. "So now you're older than me." The subject might have been close, but the content was not. "I'm always older than you," she replied, trying not to sound sour about it. After all, it wasn't like she was old. "Yes, but there will be months and months when I can say I'm 30 and you have to say you're 31, and it will be obvious to everyone which of us is older." The temptation to pout embarrassed her, so she stepped away from him. "I'll get my own damn coffee." She turned on her heel and stomped toward the cottage. Right now, adulthood was a frayed scarf, and the harder she tried to hold on to it, the faster it frayed. In another minute, she was going to resort to childish name-calling and shin-kicking. Well, not name-calling. She'd never indulged in name-calling. That would have hurt Sebastian too much. But when they were 8 years old, she'd done her share of shin-kicking. As she reached the lane, his hand gripped her shoulder, stopping her. She considered giving him one little shin kick as a present to herself, but his expression warned her that he wasn't above retaliating. So she grabbed the frayed ends of adulthood and wrapped them around herself, and realized being annoyed with him had eased the wistfulness that had made her heart ache, which, she was sure, had been his intention. Even when he wasn't slipping into someone's dreams, sometimes Sebastian read emotions much too well. "So," Sebastian said, tipping his head to indicate the break in the trees. "I know why I'm up at this time of day. Why are you?" Now that the question had been asked, she really didn't want to talk about the reason she had sought him out so early in the morning. "Lee snores." "Uh-huh." "Well, he does." Tell that to someone who hasn't slept in the same room as Lee on occasion. Unless there's something unusual about the acoustics in Jeb's old cottage, Lee doesn't snore loud enough to keep someone awake, especially someone in another room. Sebastian gave her an astute look. "Unless you were having trouble sleeping to start with, and you're dumping the blame on him." Caught. What excuse could she give that Sebastian would believe, or at least accept instead of pushing? There wasn't one. Her brother Lee, feeling the weight of his own efforts to protect Ephemera's shattered landscapes from the Eater of the world, wouldn't push. Sebastian would. She looked at her cousin. His hair was dark brown instead of a true black, but he had green eyes like she and Lee did, and in build and face, he and Lee were similar enough to be mistaken for brothers. But where Lee's handsomeness was tempered by a natural friendliness, Sebastian was all dangerous sensuality. Now that the wizard side of his heritage had manifested, he was not only an incubus, but the justice maker for the den of iniquity. Despite his gifts and his new role as the den's protector, Sebastian didn't have the responsibility for so many lives as she did, being a landscaper, or as Lee did, being the bridge who kept her pieces of ephemera connected. Maybe because he wasn't directly involved with the gift that had given her too many sleepless nights lately, she gave in to voicing her fears. "It's been over a month since I stood outside Wizard City and performed heart's justice, depriving the Eater of the world of some of its strongest allies," she said, looking away from him. "There's been no sign of it since then, at least not in the landscapes under my control or in Mother's care. But after it killed the landscapers at the school, it had access to all the pieces of the world anchored in all those gardens. It could be anywhere at this point, sowing fear in people's hearts, nurturing feelings that feed the dark currents. Without realizing it, people will diminish the currents of light that would have given them the hope and strength to turn aside the dark. In the end, if there is no landscaper to impose her will on the world, Ephemera will